radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, that's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can
okay, come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, TuneIn, Podchaser, JioSawn, Tiki Live, Rumble, and more. I am Dr. Marissa, your hashtag positively opinionated host, always trying to balance out all the bad news that's so readily available with good news, with topics and guests to that end. And this morning is absolutely no exception to the rule. I have a I have a great guy that I actually just met maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago at an event that was benefiting Cancer Society, and his organization is also doing as such. And so I thought I would bring him on. Before I formally introduce him to you, I'm going to spring something on you, Eric. I start the show, and I purposely did not warn you about this because I don't want you to think about it. It's called having breakfast with me and taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So we do 8 specific things that we are grateful for. So are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's
All right. So top of the bun, I'll start. I am grateful for a pool in my building that I can roll out of bed and do laps in the morning as a second wake-up call. Go.
Yeah,
What are you
I'll
grateful
start with
for?
the thing that I always start with. I'm grateful for my health, first and foremost.
Fantastic. I'm grateful that my back is getting better. I put it out for the 3rd time in my life. So the pool is a good reason to do the stretching for it. So I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful for air conditioning because I'm currently in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's 115 degrees.
No forking way. I saw 105 here yesterday. So 115 definitely beats that. I'm grateful for air conditioning. I'm going to have to repeat that because we've had that heat wave, and there's a lot of people who don't have that luxury. So definitely grateful for that.
I'm grateful for loving friends and family. It's something that I say every morning to remind myself.
Now I actually ask people to be specific about their friends and family, because friends and family is super general. So pick one friend or family member and give me their name and the one thing that you love about them the most.
My mother, Lynn, for sure. And just unabashed support and love in everything that I do, which is all you can ask for from a mother.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful for my mom, Rose, who's actually making her transition as we speak. I spoke to her this morning on FaceTime and told her all the things in case the flight doesn't get there in time. But she is an amazing woman who has lived a very full life. My plan was to go and give her an 88th birthday next month, but she fell and broke her ribs and has pneumonia now. So she's in palliative care, and I want to just express the most appreciation for all that I learned from her. So that's to Rose, and I'm going to give her a little applause right now, just in case she is on her way. To the heavens. And I had a good cry this morning, and then the pool was a nice thing for that. All right. Sorry to lay that heavy on you, but it's part of life.
Yes,
and
it is.
I really am grateful. So go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'm grateful since you brought it up. I lost my father a couple of years ago, so I'm grateful for the time that I got to spend with him in the last 6 months of his life. It was some of the most amazing time I've ever spent with my father.
Yeah. Isn't it's I was talking to my niece this morning, and our parents are never perfect, even though it says we're supposed to have perfect parents, which is really like the worst thing you could be told, right? Mothers are supposed to be, your fathers are supposed to be. But I'm grateful that I know that we just all do the best that we can, and that my only job is to be one notch better from my mom and dad. And every generation, we just do a little bit better with what we know. And so I'm grateful to know that. And last gratitude from you?
I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I think it's something that we all take for granted, that it's just, we're going to have another day. And I am so grateful that I get to wake up this morning and speak to you, doctor.
Yay! And now you know why he's on my show. I meet people who just naturally we connect, and you can tell from his gratitudes that this is not his first time down the gratitude rodeo. And so thank you for the top of the bun breakfast. The bottom of the bun is something that I want you to do before you go to bed. And we purposely have this breakfast sandwich almost every morning on my show, because we may be grateful, but we often forget about how to appreciate ourselves. And so the bottom of the bun before you go to bed is to say all 8 things that you appreciate about yourself. So these are qualities. I'll start again so you know what I'm going for. I appreciate that I am compassionate most of the time. And so you are grateful that you are, you appreciate that you are
true to myself.
I appreciate that I am open.
I appreciate that I am confident.
I appreciate that I am fearless most of the time.
Yeah. I appreciate that I love what I do.
I appreciate that I have a good eye.
I appreciate that I wake up every morning and I get the opportunity to help people.
So you're helpful. So I did that on purpose because a lot of us have a difficult time finding things to appreciate about ourselves. We're either fishing for compliments or looking or hoping for compliments, for people to validate us, to like us literally these days on social media. And so we're out with our antenna and we're looking for love in all the wrong places. So this exercise helps us ground in, appreciating ourselves. Because honestly, if you can't appreciate yourself, how the fork do you expect people to appreciate you?
It's also hard too, because we spend, at least I do, I spend time yoga and meditation kind of depleting the ego, reducing the ego. And you're kind of asking, okay, well, now let's bring the ego up for a little bit. So that's especially challenging for me.
Yeah. So here's the deal with ego. I think ego has been given a bad rap, that there is such a thing as balance. You don't want to think that you're hot shiitake, which is the super ego, but you also don't want to deplete it so much that you think you're a piece of shiitake, which is, groveling and always saying sorry. And, you can't find any strength in yourself. So you're completely selfless, which is not why we're here. And I'm a big fan of the law of attraction and the teachings of Esther and Jerry Hicks Abraham. So I absolutely love knowing that I am imperfectly perfect and one of a kind wonderful, and that I know that that is important for me to feel in and of myself. That it's great, people who say I'm here on earth to serve, and I say that's great as long as you're having fun doing that. But if you're being completely depleted serving others, you become a martyr, which is not exactly what we're here for. But Yeah. So I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm glad you brought that up because I think the balance is really important.
Yes.
Yes, you agree? Okay,
Absolutely.
good. Then I'm not going to kick you off. No, I'm just kidding. And now I'm going to give you your formal introduction for those of you who've just tuned in to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And you're wondering who this attractive male is. I try to use that as one of my qualifications. Not just kidding. But anyways, it was what drew me to him at the event. But Eric Sedransk, did I get that right?
Sedransk.
Thank you, is the founder and charity golf officer, CGO, of Member for a Day. I think I put COO somewhere there, but I'll change it. In just 2 years, Member for a Day has raised over $30.5 million for charity by auctioning off once-in-a-lifetime golf experiences. They've auctioned off rounds of golf at 75 of the top 100 courses in the country with celebrities like Bill Murray, Bo Jackson, Clyde Drexler, Canelo, Rob Riggle, and Brian Littrell of the Backstreet Boys. Their nonprofit partners include the American Cancer Society, the First Tee, Children's Miracle Network, and the ALS Association, among countless others. So, welcome to the studio this morning, Eric. I'm so glad that we could do this and make it connect. Last time we were chatting, I couldn't make it to the sold out banquet time, but I met him the night before where I got pictures taken with the tallest man in the world, I think he is, or at least the tallest man in the NBA. Those of you who are on my social, Doc Balance on Instagram and everywhere else, Dr. Marissa, you saw that. You saw me dancing. That was one of the first time that I've videoed myself dancing, and it went to 8,000 views immediately. So obviously I've missed my calling posting inspirational stuff. I just need to post dancing and I get those numbers.
Welcome to TikTok.
Thank you. No, actually that was Instagram.
I know, but everything else on TikTok is just people dancing.
Yeah, but TikTok, that same dance on TikTok only got a couple hundred. Go figure. But it's a strange algorithm. I have no idea how it works, but it is funny. It is funny. But I saw Eric out of the corner of my eye. Y'all know I have a weakness for attractive men. And so I made my way over. We started talking. And then after 5 minutes, when I realized that we definitely jived personality wise, I asked him the most important question, which is, are you single? And then he said no. And then I resisted the urge to leave because he had told me what he had been doing with his life. And it was very interesting. So I continued the conversation, and we've definitely friend zoned each other into a wonderful repartee. And I was keeping him laughing while he was at the banquet table.
And because,
yes. But I want to go back and ask you one of my favorite questions is, when you were a kid, Eric, did you think that you would be the CGO for an organization that raises funds through golf?
Absolutely not.
And I asked that because I was drawn to your story, and I'm always trying to highlight people who have had shift happen. Yeah. And had sort of fork in the road, so to speak, and I love that part. So I want you to tell the story.
Yeah, and I'll just first say I do as well, Doctor. I think for me, some of the most interesting people are the ones who have had these wild experiences where they've failed. I mean, it was Abraham Lincoln failed so many times. Jon Stewart failed so many times. I think about Reed Hastings, who spent 3 months backpacking through Africa. Why? He needed to find himself, and he needed to see what was out there in the world. And I've always gravitated towards people who, I guess, take the path less traveled versus the path most traveled. And so with that, I'll kind of just dive in and tell you the story. Before COVID, I was taking kind of a path most traveled. I was working in the tech industry in New York, and everything was great. And I was summering in Montauk, and it was very kind of typical good New York life. Then I find myself laid off because of COVID-19. And in that moment, realizing I'm going to be unemployed for quite a bit of time, I decided instead of looking for a job when there were no jobs, I decided to launch an online charity golf auction with rounds of golf at some of the most exclusive places in the country in support of New York City hospital frontline workers, specifically to feed them, because at the time, which seems so crazy now, 2.5 years later, they were eating out of vending machines. At least that's what the headlines were saying. And I just thought that was a load of crap. And so I wanted to do something about it. And so I just started reaching out to anyone and everyone I knew who had some sort of affiliation with an exclusive private golf club and asked them if they could donate a round with proceeds going to feed the hospital frontline workers. And next thing you know, this little side project I did just caught fire on social media. I got hundreds of messages from people all around the world. I had 30 complete strangers who were members of some of the most exclusive golf courses on earth DM me on Instagram and offer to donate additional rounds. I mean, I still think back to that. That is so crazy. Complete strangers. People I've still to this day, I haven't met most of them. And so this little side project I did to hopefully raise a couple dollars for New York City hospital frontline workers. Next thing I know, it raised over $101,000 in a week. We didn't spend a penny on marketing, and that equated to 12,000 meals that we purchased from struggling restaurants in New York City and hand delivered them to area hospitals to feed frontline workers.
Wow. Hold on one second. You know, I know there's more, but just I want to highlight that there's a choice. There's always a choice. Everybody went through the pandemic. No one was spared on the planet. And we always have a choice on what we do with that time. And I was a big rah-rah cheerleader for people to do that exploration during that time, instead of just sitting and doing series and watching Netflix and all of that, which is okay, some, balanced. But I want to highlight, you get Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award just for that initial idea, coming from vending machines to the desire to be of help. So thank you.
Yeah.
And then?
Yeah, thanks, Doctor. And I just want to dive a little bit deeper on what you said there, because I remember that period. And I remember, yes, it's very easy to just sit on the couch, eat bonbons, and watch Netflix. But thankfully, it was a really interesting time for me. My father actually had just passed away from ALS. And so I was living at my mother's. And so it was this really strong connection between my mom and I. We were working out, we were eating well. And actually it was a bike ride around Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, where I was living at the time, that kind of gave me the inspiration. So if I can say anything to anyone for advice, is get outside and move and exercise, and like ideas change, things happen. So that's what happened to me.
Point. ALS stands for those who are not familiar.
Well, it's Lou Gehrig's disease is what a lot of people know it as, which, my father suffered through for about 5 years.
Okay. And he's in heaven with my dad right now, with my mom about to join. So that's beautiful. Beautiful. So kudos to your mom too. Yeah. And I'm sure she was like, go for it.
She was.
I'm sure.
Well, and again, I can't stress this enough, right, Doctor, is when I did that initial COVID auction, I had no other ideas. I was just trying to help people. And to me, that's the most beautiful thing of the whole journey that I've been on since for the last 2 years, is that everything that happened after that was just this organic, beautiful symphony. And so what I mean by that is, I went to the nonprofit, I handed over one of those big checks from Publishers Clearinghouse style, and kind of went on my merry way. And I was like, that was fun. I'd love to do that, but I don't think this is my career or anything. And next thing you know, a writer for Golf magazine saw what I did on social media and reached out and wrote an article. And then other newspapers and magazines started picking up. The New York Post did a full page article on my story. And that's all of a sudden when 20 nonprofits, including the American Cancer Society, reached out to me and said, that was incredible. Can you do something like that for us? And so at that point, I was like, golf, charity, technology, those were like, outside of family and friends, those are like three of my favorite things. Like, absolutely. And so we spun up a platform called Member for a Day that allows any and all nonprofits the ability to fundraise through once in a lifetime golf experiences. And as you said it from the beginning, we've raised $3.5 million in 2 years and growing quickly.
Unbelievable. I mean, believable and wonderful and total law of attraction. You were open to the inspiration. You took action, inspired action. And then, the universe just conspired for you and boom, boom, boom. You didn't have to go anywhere. You didn't have to push. You didn't have to, knock on doors and blah, blah, blah. You just were open and available. And that's the way life works if we allow it that way.
Yeah.
So that's so cool.
Yeah,
Now, do you even play golf?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
okay.
Funny enough, a lot less now because when I'm playing golf, I'm thinking about work. So it's not quite an escape for me.
Okay.
But I do still play a little bit.
I have a funny, the only golf that I do, I still do. I'm an organizational psychologist. So I do strategic planning, facilitation, teamwork, leadership development. And I was doing a project for 3M in Austin. And this is all a time ago. And I was told that I really was great, but I wasn't getting access because I wasn't talking to the leaders where they were. And I said, well, where are they? And they're on the golf course. So I had to learn how to play golf to be able to do my job with the executives.
Wow.
But after a year, they said, we'll just meet you in the boardroom because I literally was hacking the turf up so badly that they just said, we'll go to where you are. So that's my only golf story.
That's fair. Hey, it's a hard game. It takes a lot of time, but I find meditation in it. It's part of my practice.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I do that with the swimming. So yeah.
Oh, me too.
So,
I love swimming.
So how did you get the celebrities involved?
Yeah, so the way our model works is rather interesting. So think about Member for a Day as we're just the platform. So we're the great connector. I mean, this is obviously we're not in the same league, but in the same vein as Uber and Airbnb, we're a two-sided marketplace. So on one side, we have people who want to have amazing experiences, which I'm a big experience over things person. We can dive into that if you want. But we don't really do a lot of things on Member for a Day. It's all experiences. So on one side, we have the consumers. On the other side, we have the nonprofits. And so we have, like I said, American Cancer Society and Children's Miracle Network. And so these nonprofits, they actually get the golf experiences through their donor networks and connections. So a lot of nonprofits, as you probably know, have celebrity connections or celebrities that are interested in that cause, right? Maybe their mother or father, like me, died of ALS. And so in turn, they support the ALS Association. So
my mom has
nonprofits
Parkinson's.
get them. Mm-hmm. And our job is to be that great connector and most importantly, raise as much money as possible for the charity.
Got it. And when you say experiences only, it is versus like material things you can put on your wall.
Correct.
So this is the, those with a lot of money that don't know what to do with their money. Yeah. This is a good way of getting something that's unusual, experiencing it, and doing something worthy as a fundraiser too.
That's right. I mean, when I think back on my life, I don't think about the things I bought. I think about the stuff, the experiences that I've had. And so, I mean, I'm a perfect example of this. The last 2 years, I've been a digital nomad. I've been traveling around the country, soon to be the world, with one bag and my golf clubs. And that's all I need to be happy. And I mean, I remember speaking to my grandfather about this, who was 96, who converted to Buddhism late in his life. And he talked about this a lot. I mean, he gave away all of his stuff. He just had one backpack at the end of his life. And that really made an impact on me. And every day, like, I am giving away stuff. I don't want things. I want experiences.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm wondering how much of that is that minimalist movement, which I've heard of, but I completely don't understand because I like my stuff. I like both. Honestly, I like my stuff and I like the experiences. So, I'm all about balance and I want both.
Yeah, for me, the only stuff that I like are things that allow me experiences. So I'll give you an example, like a stand-up paddleboard. right? Like I can't stand on water, but a stand-up paddleboard allows me the feeling of standing on water. So that's okay. But just stuff that'll sit in my house and collect dust, I don't have time for it.
Interesting. Because our generation before that was very much into things that you can auction off, right? Things that you can touch and hold and see and admire, right? I never thought about that. That is a big generational shift. You sound like a millennial, actually, because a lot of them are like, we're not going to stay in school. We want to experience the world first, and then maybe I'll go back to school. That's a huge shift. Now, again, I'll say balance. I think that there's wisdom in balance, and maybe we needed to swing that pendulum over, because I do agree that it is not the goal of life to work hard, buy stuff, and then leave it to squabbling relatives when you die. That's actually in my short film, PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities, that line, because I think that aptly describes the last generation.
Yes.
That whole, what is the purpose of life? Absolutely. So now your purpose of life is to have beautiful experiences that you can capture on your smartphone. I use that as a tool. I call it turning on a dime of memories. Turning on a dime is an expression, and then using your phone to. And I love the fact that reels and all of that now people are gravitating towards seeing inspiring things. That's my positive spin on social
Absolutely.
media.
I was just gonna say though, my goal is to be on my phone as little as possible, because if you're staring at your phone, it's hard to really experience what's happening. I mean, the classic example that just drives me nuts is you're at a concert, but instead of watching the concert, you're looking at the concert through your screen, which you're recording to share, which probably no one on social media actually cares to watch it anyway. Instead of just putting your phone away, enjoying the concert for 2 hours.
Yeah, and I'm all about balance. So I will say that a lot of people enjoy when I capture stuff without sounding defensive. But what I have learned how to do is hold it up and look this way. So I'm looking at that, and there's my balance. But if you've just tuned in and you're that was an accident. That was a hashtag #accidental applause to support my theory right there. But if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I am talking to today, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And my very special guest this morning is Eric Sedransk.
Yeah.
Sedransk. Is that good?
Sedransk,
okay. Yeah. Yay. I guess I just look at it and all the letters sort of put me in that free zone. What's the heritage behind that name?
My father's side were Russian and Polish Jews.
Wow.
So it probably got chopped in Ellis Island. It was probably some
maybe it had an I on the end.
Or Sedranskevich or something. Yeah.
Or it's something like that. Okay, good. Now I feel better. Actually, then we're even connected on another level. My mom was unofficially adopted by a Russian Jewish woman named Anna Blum.
Oh.
So I have a Aunt Ethel, Aunt Penny, and an Uncle Moishi.
Uncle Moishi.
Yes, and I know how to hide the matzah. So there you go.
But anyway,
yeah. So we are talking today about a couple things. One, on how your life can change, and it can change when shift happens that you may not want, but change in a way that you end up loving. And that is Eric's story. And when we come back, we're going to hear about his current projects and what he's doing for Golf&Charity here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take Back Your Life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
What if informing to the world was exploring the world? What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into how many streets of life you want to explore? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time, have relationships that we enjoy most of the time, and use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death? What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with a new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what ifs become possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with
Take Back Your Life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where if you free subscribe, you will get an alert every weekday morning at 8 a.m. so you can tune in to the latest and greatest positive news. Also, you can get my red carpet playlist where I have my interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones, The Temptations, and more. Also, there's meditation videos there. There's family fun videos where I highlight some of the cutest dogs you've ever seen. So please go. Oh, and my dancing. So please go there and free subscribe, and you will be connected to me as well on my social media. And on TikTok, don't tell my daughters, as Dr. Marissa Happy 88. Everywhere else, Dr. Marissa, and on IG, Doc Balance. And today, I'm so delighted to have in my virtual studio, out of my living room here in Southern California, his name is Eric Sedransk, and he is the CGO, Chief Golf Officer of a wonderful organization that sort of plays matchmaker to wonderful golf experiences, celebrities, and worthy causes like the American Cancer Association and more. Please welcome back to my studio, Eric. And welcome back.
Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, welcome. And tell me what's going on now. What are you supporting? What's the next thing? Who's going to be there, etc. Besides me, you're going to fly me there.
Yeah.
Although I won't be allowed to golf.
Well, we can work on your golf swing too.
Oh, okay.
So the next big initiative that we're doing is for the American Cancer Society, specifically for their Coaches versus Cancer group. So Coaches versus Cancer, for those that aren't familiar with it, was started 30 years ago in a partnership between the National Association of Basketball Coaches and the American Cancer Society, basically for college basketball coaches to use their platform for good, but to be focused, to use it to fight cancer through the American Cancer Society. And so they've raised, I think, something like $150 million in 30 years, just a staggering amount of money. And so what we do with them, it's going to be launching on September 19th. of this month. And what we do is we auction off the ability to play golf with some of college basketball's greatest coaches at their home courses all around the country. So think of things like Roy Williams at Biltmore Forest, Lon Kruger at Southern Hills, Brad Underwood at Olympia Fields, the greatest college basketball coaches at the greatest, most exclusive courses all around the country. So this will be now the third time we've done this. And in 2 prior 1-week online auctions, we've raised almost $500,000 for the American Cancer Society. So it's a big auction. It raises a lot of money. And if you're a college basketball fan, if you're a golfer, if your husband or son or daughter, anyone you know is a big fan, this is like the greatest gift that you could possibly give them. So it'll launch on September 19th. And the easiest way to find it is go to our website, memberforday.com, and sign up for our email list. That's the best way to stay.
Did I get it right here? Did I get it right on the member4aday.com?
Perfect.
Yes?
Spot on.
Perfect. So yes, so this is a golf experience for your father, mother, whoever's the golf enthusiast. And by purchasing the package, is it on an auction basis or is it a buyout?
So it's a good question. So we do auctions, but there also are buy it nows. So it's both.
Okay. So at the event that we were at, you had a package there for auction, correct?
No. So everything that we do is virtual. Keep that in mind, doctor. So it'll all be online, virtual 1-week auction. So you just log on to memberforday.com and do it there. So we don't actually have any physical events, which is part of the reason that we grew so fast during the pandemic, because all of those nonprofits who couldn't have physical events in turn came to us, and we hosted these virtual online auctions for them.
Mm-hmm. Which is probably, one of those hashtag COVID silver linings that I talk about, because we realize that there is much more we can do without risk, the physical risk and or the travel costs. Right?
Absolutely.
So can you give me a range of how much these packages cost so that people...
Yeah, the range is wide.
Okay.
On the low end, you're looking at maybe $1,000 for 3 or 4 people to play golf. On the high end, the most amount of money we've sold for a single round of golf was with Ken Griffey Jr. at Grove 23, which is Michael Jordan's private golf course. And it sold for just under $25,000 for a single round of golf. So and actually that went to the American Cancer Society. So quite a bit.
Wow. And because you are online, it's probably totally decreasing any costs so that more of the money goes towards the beneficiary.
Totally. Yeah. We have we don't buy any food, or we don't host bands, or we don't have any issues with weather. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is a digital company for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because because you hear those stories of places that, really like the CEO of a nonprofit makes more than, blankety blank.
Yep.
So that's good. Very transparent.
Absolutely.
Which is also good. What would you say your most memorable deal was? Maybe that one you just said.
No, it's a good question. I think so when I first started, of course, there was nothing. And one of the first organizations to reach out to me was a First Tee chapter in Savannah, Georgia, which, if you're familiar with Hilton Head, South Carolina, it's right next door. It's like a 45-minute drive. And the First Tee Savannah had a really interesting story in the sense that they actually had to shut down in 2018 due to a lack of funding. So from 2018 to 2020, the First Tee of Savannah didn't exist. And for those that are not too familiar with the First Tee essentially works with inner city children, disadvantaged youth, to try to get them to learn the game of golf, to sort of aid in their life, whether it's on the golf course or off, and teach them skills that'll help them grow as a person. And so
I'm going to interject for 1 second. Did you know that I race sailboats and that we take out inner city kids and teach them how to race?
I saw that on your background.
So another point of intersection.
I love that.
Sorry, keep going.
So for 2 years, the First Tee in Savannah didn't exist. So you had 2 years where, technically a bunch of
Couldn't
youth
go
that
up.
might have been able to grow weren't. And so next thing you know, I got connected with Alex, who runs the First Tee of Savannah over there. We had a lovely conversation. And a couple weeks later, we raised just shy of $150,000 for them in a week. And that money paid for more than a year of curriculum. And now what's so amazing is that because my mother lives in Hilton Head, I go back all the time. I drive over to Savannah. There are hundreds of kids playing golf in the First Tee of Savannah program that there were 0 2 years ago. So that one's especially important to me just because I've seen it. I've seen it from 0 to hundreds, and it's just going to continue to flourish because we've been able to raise so much money for them. It's just wonderful.
Beautiful. What a great story. And so if you are listening, because I have the wonderful privilege of being broadcast all over, include quite a few listeners on the East Coast because of technology. Yeah. So if you're anywhere near Savannah, and you want to be part of that effort, sounds like a wonderful program. It's called First Tee.
First Tee.
Yeah. And I'm guessing firsttee.org.
I believe so. Yeah.
Probably something like that. But you can look it up. You can get a hold of Eric to do that. And specifically, September 19th is the date that you're launching this next benefit where you matchmake between people looking for wonderful experiences and to help the American Cancer Society at the same time, which is definitely, my dad left for heaven with lymphoma. So I'm a big supporter of the lymphoma and the Cancer Foundation. So absolutely.
Yeah, as the American Cancer Society says, cancer touches all of us, unfortunately.
Absolutely. I had Fran Drescher on a couple of times on my show talking about preventative, and her site is great. It's cancerschmancer.org. So there's another little commercial for hers.
Yeah, I saw a little clip about what you said, that it's not about curing cancer, it's about preventing it. And I think
absolutely
all medicine needs to start being thought about as preventative.
Yes, there's your Eastern philosophy coming in there. Sneaking in. I heard it. So is there anything else that you would like to leave the listeners as we come to the last part of the show?
Well, I'm just going to say, if you work for a nonprofit or are a big supporter and connected to a nonprofit, reach out to us. We are a fast-growing, innovative tech startup that is focused on raising as much money as possible for the nonprofit industry. So please reach out. Our contact info is at memberforaday.com, and we'd love to work with you and help you raise more money.
Isn't that amazing right there? Because a lot of nonprofits, mine included, in fact, I just made the connection that I should be working with you for that.
Yes.
Why did it take that long for that little connection to go? I'm not even going to go there. So I will definitely follow up with you on that. Those of you who know, I have a nonprofit, 8 Ways to Happiness, which is for kids, teens, and young adults who have temporarily forgotten their birthright to happiness. And if you want to support, just shop on Amazon and go to Smile Amazon and put in 8 Ways to Happiness. And then you can do that too if yours is a nonprofit. Did you know that? Yeah, people that shop, Amazon gives a little percentage there. But please do go to memberforaday.com. If you're a nonprofit, here's some support. You don't have to work as hard as you're working from scratch. You've got a partner here who's matchmaking, who has connections, who can bring you money. So how's that for a gift for the nonprofits? That's today's show, is a present, a gift, be in the present for a gift from Eric and Member for a Day. And thank you so much for the work that you do. I already gave you the Beneficial Presence on the Planet Day. I also love your story for those of you who got laid off and are not happy about it. Eric is your poster child today for amazing things. He went from, a good life, I'm sure, doing something that was on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 7 out of 10 fun, right? You enjoyed it. But now he's doing something that's probably more like a 8.8 out of 10. 11.
I would do it for free.
That's amazing. And getting to travel with just his golf clubs. I I don't know, even if I got to that point where I just was experience only, I'd have to have way more than just thing of golf clubs. I'm sorry. I think there's a little gender difference there that we're not going to talk about, but I'm so glad to be able to blast you out and support your work. I'm hoping that everyone within the sound of this listening now or later is going to support Eric in his work. I'm sure you know a nonprofit that you can point towards Eric. If you are in the position where you need tax write-offs, if you're in the position where you just want to help, if you're in the position where you keep shaking your head at all the horrific things that you're seeing in the news, quit shaking your head and get your hands on your keyboard. Go to memberforaday.com, especially if you're a golfer, and go and support this very worthy organization that is acting as a matchmaker for nonprofits and golf experiences. So, we did the gratitude already, so I can't ask you for the last thing that you are grateful for, but I will ask you one question.
Sure.
What is the one thing that you would have said to yourself before all this happened, like an older, wiser Eric is meeting your younger, maybe in your early 20s, after college? What would you say to yourself to get, what advice would you give to yourself?
It's a great question, and it's one that I've thought about a lot. So it comes down to trust that feeling in your gut, in your soul, in your heart. Because I think for me, and probably for a lot of us in our 20s, we follow the right path. For me, I started my career in Wall Street, if you can believe it. I wore pinstripe suits and I worked on a trading desk, and I was miserable because I thought that was the right thing to do, and I would make money and I would be successful. What my least favorite word in the United States dictionary, successful. It just means you make a lot of money. That's not success. That just means you make a lot of money. And so I think we all know who we are deep down inside. Some of us get there sooner. Some of us never get there, which is such a tragedy. I think it's the ultimate tragedy. And it just took me to my mid-30s to realize, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm meant to do. And I'm going to use my talents to better the world, because the other things I was doing, it felt like I was an actor. It felt like I would go to work and I would put on a cape and I'd be a different person. Then I'd walk out the doors. And again, I was myself again. And the way I describe that is, a lot of people think of work and life as black and white. And I think of it as living in the gray. There was a great nonprofit I used to work with called Living in the Gray, where everything is the same. It's all just gray. Work, life, when you're at the gym, all the same. You're all the same person. You're all the same emotions. And I really, really try to do that. If you meet me in any setting, I mean, you met me when on my fancies, I never wear a suit. That was like the one time this year I wore a suit. I'm exactly the same person when I'm in shorts and a t-shirt at the gym. And so for me, it's my advice to my 22-year-old self is quit doing what society tells you to do and do what you're meant to be doing. And the sooner you can do that, you'll be happier and you will be more successful, whatever your definition of success is.
Great words of advice for everyone, not just to your younger self, Eric. I will say, I just did a show on my Friday, Fired Up Fridays with Cynthia Kahi, and we actually gave our definitions of success. And I think you will like mine. It's from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's to laugh often and much, to know that one life has breathed easier because you have lived. And you definitely are the definition of that success.
One of my favorite quotes of all time, Doctor.
Is it? Isn't it? And
I've
also,
used it in one of my episodes for my TV show.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So the other definition of success that I love is to want what you have and have what you want. Actually, I think I said it backwards. To have what you want and then want what you have, because a lot of people have what they want and they don't even appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, that's that we are the top 3 to 8% on the planet with all that we have. Yeah. And when I travel, when I hear complaining, it's almost always one of the top 8% of the people who have everything.
Yep.
So we really need to shift that black and white thinking, that all or nothing thinking, that, what's the solution? Only one solution. And I think, if I may expand on your gut feeling and that one thing you want to do, I think that we can do more than one thing in life. I think that there's like multiple dreams that you can have fulfilled in life, and that the single point of success in the American dream has led most of us to an American nightmare.
Yep.
And I think if we can just sit back and release that BS, that belief system, that making money and having things and toys to leave to squabbling relatives is a BS, a belief system that really time has come to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I always think back to the Steve Jobs speech at the Stanford graduation, where he says, if you wake up every morning and you're unhappy, change, do something different. So instead of complaining, just change, try something else. What's the worst that happens? Oh, you don't like that too? All right, you can always go back to what you were doing previously.
Right.
We are so lucky to live in a country where we have freedom of will, where we can choose what we want to do. Take advantage of that. Don't let, as my mother says, this isn't a dress rehearsal.
Nice. I think I'm going to have your mother on here. Well, it has been just fabulous having you. I'm glad we reconnected. I know we've already decided that our connection is for life in whatever form that is. I'm still waiting for him to say, I broke up with her. No, I'm kidding. But I am really grateful. I love, there's no accidents. There's always a good reason for everything. And I'm grateful for you going back to the gratitude sandwich. And I wish you the very, very best. I'm just seeing, just more and more expansion. Nevertheless, it's always this or better. And maybe you'll even go into sailing packages instead of, we could start branching out that it's not just where I get kicked off, courses for hacking up the turf, that we can go to something that I'm good at, which is racing sailboats.
You never know where we're going.
Never know. Absolutely. All right. And we're going to wrap it up. Please do come back. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about something interesting that I'm going to keep a secret because, I just like doing that. And then Thursday is my special series with Sam Works. It's called Straight Talk with Sam Works and Dr. Marissa. And then Friday, Fired Up Fridays with Cynthia Kahi. Always trying to get you to balance out the bad news with good news. One more time, let's give it up. Thanking so much for my special guest today. Go to memberforaday.com. Eric will help you if you're a nonprofit or if you're someone looking for a great golfing experience. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room here in Southern California. Wishing you, now you know this drill, put your fingers up. Remember, I had you do this when we were on site. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go forth and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow.